Hello, everybody. Happy May 12th, 2020. My name is Christopher Saunders, and this is the Connecticut Sports Talent Show, where we talk all things talent in Connecticut. And on today's show, we have an NFL free agent, but a Connecticut talent himself, Nick Dicairano. Nick, thanks so much for being able to come on today.
Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to be able to have you on the show because, as I alluded to, a former Connecticut talent, you went to St. Joe's, and then your path kind of brought you to a couple places. Just talk to me about your journey to Endicott.
I started playing football under Coach Dell my senior year of high school, and really how I got there was very surprising. I ended up playing soccer my entire life. My dad played professional soccer in Italy. My two older brothers were all-state, all-FCAC guys for St. Joe's. So really there was a lot of kind of pressure on myself, at least, by me to perform for soccer and kind of live up to that legacy of being a Dicairano and stuff like that. But I ended up switching to football in secret. I didn't tell my dad or my mom. I told them I was going to soccer practice, but in reality I was going to football practice. And one day I had to work up the courage, just kind of say, hey, can I play football? And when my mom was absolutely besides herself and said, go talk to your father about this, I can't believe this. I was like, well, I'm already on the team and I already have a number, everything like that. So I ended up playing for Coach Dell. He showed me all the ropes. He taught me everything about football and the game of football, because I really didn't know anything. I didn't even know what a PAT stood for. So he taught me all that, and then I ended up I was a walk-on to Pace University, so they gave me a preferred walk-on. And really, it was culture shock from as soon as I stepped on campus for camp. I didn't know what I got myself into because I had never bench pressed before. I had never squatted before. I was undersized. But Coach Rondeau really genuinely saw something in me. I think he saw that I was very dedicated to my craft, and I just really wanted to get better, and I was going to do anything it took to get better. And it was different. It was different being in an environment of where it's a lifestyle there, right? Like football is like a lifestyle. You have kids on scholarship, you have kids on full rides, you have kids that are supposed to be All-Americans and draft prospects, whereas in football it's still kind of that commitment, but it's not serious. So I went to Pace for 2 years. I ended up transferring during spring ball of my sophomore year, just because I really felt out of place. And it was no fault of anyone else's. It wasn't the coaches. It wasn't really anything else. I came in, I had a couple best friends who were my best friends in the entire world. We were totally inseparable. And they all ended up transferring. So at that point, I was kind of left alone. I couldn't really find my place. As much as the guys on the team tried to make me integrated into their friend groups and everything like that, I don't know, it just didn't feel right to me. Sometimes I just kind of felt like a bother. And, I just wanted to be in a place where I kind of got a fresh start, where I can try and make those new friends again, everything like that. So while I was at Pace, after I started as a freshman. So I went in as a preferred walk-on. I ended up becoming a starter. I earned a scholarship, everything like that. And it was a really good time. It was honestly just fun to go out there and compete, because I had no expectations whatsoever of I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that. I just kind of went in there, did my job, worked really hard. I remember I would ask the strength and conditioning coach every day, 50 questions about lifting and getting bigger and getting stronger. And Coach Thompson was so unbelievably great about that. He got me a lot bigger and a lot stronger. And it honestly just came down to I was very naive. I was very immature about certain things. I just didn't understand a lot of stuff. But I ended up making that decision to transfer, and I transferred to Endicott College to play for Coach McGonigal. And funny enough, when I was at Pace, I played against Coach McGonigal because he was coaching at Assumption. So I kind of saw the damage that he was doing at Assumption, bringing them to national semifinals and having players like Deontay Harris, who now is on the Saints. You have Cole Tracy, who is a phenomenal kicker. Just guys on the Assumption side that were just absolutely dominant, and you could tell their scheme was just so perfect, everything like that. So it was very enticing to me to be able to transfer down. I wouldn't have to sit, and I'd be playing for a coach that I know is very well respected in the coaching community. But the biggest thing is that he respects the kicking game. And I knew that if I went there, he would use me, which I was excited about. So I ended up taking a leap of faith. I ended up going to Endicott. And there was definitely some growing pains playing for Coach McGonigal. I kind of had a habit and a routine of kind of doing my own thing because I was always, when I was at base, I was always alone. I never really had anyone to tell me what to do. All they were focused on was, number one, having great academics, which I did, and making my kicks. And that was really it, and staying out of trouble. So really the way that I stay out of trouble is that I fish a lot. So it ended up that Coach McGonigal had to put in a new rule that there was a no fishing during camp rule because he caught me fishing, which he never thought he would have to explain to the entire team that you really shouldn't be fishing during camp. But again, to me, it didn't cross my mind. So again, there was just different like growing pains and stuff, but overall, it was the best decision I could have made because as soon as I got in there, it was like they molded me into the kicker I am today. They molded me into how mentally tough I am, how if I'm in a pressure situation, like I'm not even worried about it. I don't even feel that pressure. If anything, I'm too comfortable. I should be nervous, but I'm not. But because I'm just so I'm just so conditioned for those moments now. It was my first day of junior year camp, and he had the entire team line up in a tunnel, and he put me on the 50 or the 45-yard line, and he's like, make the kick. And the entire team is literally like 3 yards to my left, 3 yards to my right, and they're screaming, and it's loud, and it's a live snap and hold, and I got to make the kick or else everyone's got to run. And I drained it. I hit that ball. I got a good hit on it. It was right down the middle. And from then, it was the best and worst thing I could have done because I showed the coaches like I have some talent, but it also was like they're going to coach me a lot harder now, which again was that growing pain of like being held to an extremely high standard, being held to excellence in every single thing that I did from, Coach Dustin, who at first he would be walking through the cafeteria and be looking at what I'm eating and being like, oh, is that going to make it great? And at first I'm like, oh, like what is this guy talking about? Like it's one meal. And then come to realize like the year after that, I'm like taking my dieting really seriously. I'm trying to eat properly, everything like that. And I'm kind of kicking myself because I'm like, oh man, like maybe I should have listened to Coach Dustin like a little earlier. But again, hindsight is 2020. And I've just learned so much from everyone on that staff, from everything about like just the game of football and life. So my junior year, I ended up leading the country. I was 12 for 13. I was an All-American. The team had a pretty good season. We kind of fell short. We wanted to win a conference championship, but unfortunately we did not. And going into my senior year, it was kind of a thought about the NFL, but it was more so like, I just want to win a championship. And that's kind of the mindset that Coach McGonigal and especially Coach Dustin really got me into. It was like, don't focus on the stuff like All-American. Don't focus on like, going to the Senior Bowl. Like, don't worry about that stuff. Worry about winning. Worry about making your kicks every day, having good contact, stuff like that. The things that I can control, focus on that. Anything else that you can't control, don't even worry about it. And honestly, that's the mindset that every kicker needs. And I've talked to many guys in the NFL, and they all say the same thing. If you can't control it, don't worry about it, right? You can't control the weather. You can't control the wind. For some part, you can't really control the snap and the hold. You have to have that trust in the two guys in front of you, and especially all the guys on the line. But that's really what they taught me, and my mindset definitely changed. It was definitely kind of like there's a lot of expectation, there's a lot of pressure on me, and I could feel it not just, you know, from other teams and you know, the games and stuff like that. Like, I held myself to a very, very high standard of excellence and perfection that it ended up hurting me because I was trying to control things that I couldn't control. And I ended up missing some kicks because of it, because I was trying to over adjust too much. I was trying to do too much instead of just trusting my swing. So my senior year, I was not as successful as my junior year. I definitely learned a lot, but my team won a championship. We won the New England Bowl, and I'm always going to rep this sweatshirt because we won the New England Bowl. We beat Dean. We had the best record in school history. And to me, that was like the best way to end my career. And like I said many times, if me giving up an All-American season meant that my team would win a conference championship, I would do it in a heartbeat. And I mean that sincerely and totally genuinely, because a lot of times, especially for kickers, it's such a lonely position that a lot of times it's easy to focus in on yourself and be like, oh, well, like I made all my kicks, like I deserve this. But at the end of the day, I can't do that stuff without my holder. Can't do that stuff without my snapper. I can't do that stuff without the 10 other guys on the kickoff team that are flying down the field as hard as they can and literally running into someone and trying to make a tackle and everything like that. Like, to me, it's so much that. And this is, again, a mindset shift that I had to go from being a me guy to a we guy. And that's really what we say a lot at Endicott. We want we guys. We don't want me guys. And I had to learn how to really become a we guy. And that took a long time. I'm a very honest, I'm a very no BS kind of guy. And I'll tell you, there were growing pains with that, because oftentimes I was fixated. In the beginning, I was fixated on, oh, I want to be an All-American. I want to be this. I want to be that. And once I got it, I was really confused as to what I should do. I didn't really understand, you know, kind of how to change that mindset, how to become better, how to grow and mature. And my coaches, thank God for them, they taught me that. They taught me how to change my mindset to be more successful. They taught me how to focus on the things that I can control. And really, that's what led me to where I am today. Because if I didn't have that fortitude, if I didn't go through that adversity and those struggles, I wouldn't be nearly as successful as I am, just as, you know, in life with working and grades and school and everything like that. Mm-hmm. But I also would not be in the football position that I am, because a lot of times it came down to, like, you're talking to teams, you're performing in front of teams. Like, how are you going to act? How are you going to look? What happens if you miss a kick? Are you going to get, you going to get mad? Are you going to swear? Are you going to look at your holder? Are you still going to give your holder a high five? There's so much that goes into it. And there's so much that you can see, like in my postseason games, which I'll get into later, about the National Bowl and the Dream Bowl, where there's literally NFL teams 20 feet away from me. And if I miss a kick and I don't give my holder a high five, they see that, because they see everything, right? If I miss a kick and I'm standing there and I clench my fist, right, they're going to see that. It's all about being totally composed. It's all about, you know, relaxed, trusting your swing, stuff like that. And that's really what my coaches taught me. And that was something that was so new to me, because it was like I held myself to such a high standard of excellence. Like, you know, like, damn, I just missed that kick. Like, I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to think about it, like stuff like that. But in reality, like, you don't have to do that at all. It's really like, nope, I missed the kick. That's it. It's not, you don't laugh about it, but you're not upset about it. You're not angry. It's just, I missed the kick. I'll make the next one. And that was the mindset that I learned. And it took me, it was something I never heard before. And when they first told me, I'm looking at them like, what do you mean? Like, you like really act like that? Like, yeah, like that's how it has to be. Like, everyone misses, like stuff like that. So once I learned that mindset, my practice got better. My training got better. It was like, I would go out, I'd miss a kick and be like, oh, well, I had a tripod. I would look at the film. There's so many times on film where, like, I miss a kick. I'm just like, shrug my shoulders low. I'm like, oh, well, like, let's look, as I'm walking back to the camera and I look at the film and I see, oh, I had a tight plant, the next rep, fix it right down the middle, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So after our very, very successful senior year, I ended up getting invited to a couple bowl games. I first went to the National Bowl down in Florida, and that was awesome. That was so fun. It was so well run. There was such great talent there. The kids on my team for the bowl game we honestly like gelled a little bit. Like we all kind of became friends. We all follow each other on social media. Like I still talk to some of the kids that I played with to this day, here and there. It was a really great experience. There was a lot of scouts there. After the first day of practice, because really that's a lot of the time the scouts are there watching practice more so than the game, because they want to see, number one, if you know how to practice, you know how to act in practice, if you're getting frustrated, and it's more reps. They can see more of someone in practice rather than in a game, because you don't have to share those reps. So the first practice, I was doing a lot of like upright drills where I was on the sideline, really on the end line, and just trying to kick it at the uprights. And I had a couple balls where no draw, they were dead straight, and they had enough height. They were clearing the uprights. So I was sitting around 54, 55-yard field goals with kind of like not a ton of effort, just like getting myself ready. No draw, great height. And it caught the eye of a couple teams, because right after practice, the person running the event came up to me and said, hey, a couple teams want to see you kick. So I'm like, oh, okay, like this is really cool. So I ended up kicking. They just kept backing me up. I made like a 52, a 54, a 58. They put me at 60. I hit it wide left. And I think I went to 56 or 54 again. And that's the clip that's actually on my Twitter. And I got a really good hit on it. It had a lot of room to spare. It was a good ball because I kind of had to hit it lower because of the wind. And I didn't want draw on it. I wanted to show that, I'm playing the conditions right now, because we're in beautiful sunny Florida. And again, I wasn't used to those conditions either. I mean, it's December, January. It's supposed to be winter, and it's like I'm wearing shorts, and I'm from Connecticut. It's cold.
Yeah.
So I ended up playing in that. I won special teams MVP, and I was very grateful for that. I had a great snapper and a great holder. I had Ryan Dietert, who was my snapper, and I had Brendan Cole, who was my holder. And they were both just lights out. They just made life really, really easy. So I didn't have to worry about a thing. And they were really a lot like my college snapper and holder, who also were like phenomenal. They were lights out too. Ryan Nelson, my snapper, and then Brendan Johnson, my holder. Lights out. Like they were just, it made life easy. I'd go out for a kick and be like, I'm good. Like I'm not worried about it. So I won special teams MVP of that, which was great. And then I ended up going to the College Gridiron Showcase, the specialist event, which was run by Coach Mike McCabe, down in Texas. And that was a great event too. I kicked really well. I made a lot of my field goals. I think I only missed like 1 or 2 in the charting event. So I was like 9 for 11. And that was all in front of NFL teams. And it was really cool because nobody there knew me. And like, I love that. I went in there, they're like, oh, where'd you play? I'm like, oh, I played at like a small Division III school, like, whatever. Like, oh. Then it's kind of like like, I wonder what you're doing here. Some of it was condescending. Other times it wasn't. Yeah. Which is fine, because you know what? I'm like, it doesn't matter, because now I had this beautiful mindset of like, I can't control how you guys do. I only can control how I do. So I don't really care. I went out there and I was lights out. I was lacing balls. Had a couple really, really high, just some great balls, no draw, right down the middle. And as I started getting farther back, Coach Mike McCabe, the guy running the event, he started yelling my name louder and louder. He's like, oh, like it started off like, oh, like, like Nick Dicairano, Endicott. And it was like, oh, like Nick Dicairano, Endicott. And then it got louder and louder. And I was just in a rhythm at that point. I was like, I'm just hitting my ball, not a care in the world. My eyes were down, just looking at the snap in the hole, just getting a good hit on it. It was fun. And then I had one I had one or two really good kickoffs there. I had like a 78 or 79 yard kickoff with a 3-9 hang, which at that point I was like, wow, that's really great. But now when I train a couple months later, I do that every time, but with like a 4-1, 4-2 hang. And that was because I started training with Nick Novak, which I'll get into later. After the CGS, I went to the Dream Bowl, which again was a really, really, really well-run event down in Virginia. My only complaint was that it was cold. It was very cold in Roanoke, Virginia. And by cold, I mean it was freezing. But again, it's like if you want to play in the NFL, you have to be able to play in any condition, whether it's freezing cold, like if you're playing for maybe up in Buffalo, or if it's sunny, you're playing for the Bucks down in Florida. It was a great event. I won special teams MVP of that too. So I kicked really well. I didn't miss a field goal. I made all my PATs. I had some really good kickoffs, stuff like that. So I had a blast down there. Again, it was just really cold. And because of the cold, I got a little bit of tendonitis, so I wasn't able to go to Coach Gary Zahner, who is like one of the biggest people for getting specialists into the league. I wasn't able to go to his event. And that was a tough pill for me to swallow because I feel like if I went to Zahner's, I would have charted very, very, very well. And Coach Zahner directly reports that to all these NFL teams. So I definitely think that my draft stock would have went higher with that. And I was supposed to have a pro day at Holy Cross, but unfortunately it got canceled due to the coronavirus, which again, like I said, you can only control what you can control. So I wasn't too worried about it. I was definitely upset, but it didn't just affect me. It wasn't like only my pro day was canceled. It was everyone around the country. So, and there was kids that had a lot better chances of getting into the league and they needed their pro day. And, my heart goes out to them, but my heart also goes out to all the families that are affected by the coronavirus and affected by, such terrible times in our world. And we're honestly in the world of unknown right now. So after my pro day was canceled, I was kind of confused as to like what to do. I was going to do like a virtual pro day and film myself hitting like 9-10 balls in a row, but I didn't have 9 NFL footballs. I only had 2. So I ended up buying more, but I actually, funny enough, so I ended up messaging Nick Novak, an NFL veteran kicker, on Facebook because
all places, Facebook.
Right. I was so hell-bent on either training with an NFL guy or just learning, talking to him on the phone, like anything. Even if this guy gave me 2 minutes of his time, like I'm still like elevating myself. I'm still getting better, right? So I messaged him. I'm like, hey, I'm a huge fan. I love your technique. I want to learn from you. You're unbelievably successful. Can you train me? And it basically turned into, we had that conversation on a Saturday or Sunday, and by Tuesday or Wednesday, I was on a plane to California.
Boom.
And yeah, and that was the best thing I could have ever done. And next week, I'm going back out to California to train with Nick Novak again.
Just be safe, be careful.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm wearing a mask, I'm wearing gloves, and as soon as I land, I'm going to be quarantining for a week with my oldest brother.
Good.
But going out to train with Nick Novak was the best thing I ever did. It was the most positive training that I've ever had in my entire life. Learning from someone in the NFL who's telling me like, this is how things are done on game day. This is how practice is. This is how camp is. This is, training camp, rookie mini camp, everything. Like he's going down the list and I'm like, I'm absorbing every single thing he said. So it's like, I know so much about the process and I'm so ready for it. And the other part of it was we trained my kicking too. It wasn't just the mental side, but it was, we went to the field a lot. We kicked a lot and we were charting and I was like 6 for 9 from 54 plus. And I had like a 62 in there. Like we were just I was just hitting balls and I was hitting great balls. and he has an app where he can log where the ball lands on the upright. And a lot of time it can calculate the variance in the kicks.
Mm-hmm.
A couple times my balls only had like a 2-degree variance, which you're talking from here to there, right? That it's not a big margin. It's extremely small.
Mm-hmm.
And he also does it where it puts it on uprights that are like, I think like only 6 feet wide, 7 feet wide. So again, you have a really, really small margin to make the kick. And every single one I made was right in that 6-foot radius. So literally right down the middle. So it just was like, as the days went on, I just got better and better and better and better. And I got stronger, and I just got like more wise about my kicking. I got a warm-up routine, everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And right now I've been told that I just have to be really patient, because it's not if I'm going to get a call, it's a when. And that has come from my agent and someone directly in the NFL, which I can't really talk about further because of confidentiality and everything like that. But, you know, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when.
Mm-hmm.
And when it does, I'm going to be ready. And it's not just because, you know, I'm pushing myself every day. When I'm in Connecticut, I'm doing film every day, watching other NFL guys. I'm watching some of the most successful NFL guys, like their game-winning kicks, how they act before it, how they run out onto the field. Everything that they do, I try to emulate, because it makes me better and it makes me look more like a professional. And that's honestly what Nick Novak has taught me. And I'm going to keep training with Nick. And when I make the NFL, I'm going to keep training with Nick more, because he just knows so much and he's such a professional. And, you know, we just had a blast, because the balls I was hitting out in Cali were just going so high and so far. And it was just like, I'm like looking at him like, whoa, like this is like the technique stuff that we're working on is like really working. He's looking at me like, yeah, like clearly it's really working. Like I know what I'm talking about. But it was a great time. Nick Novak's such a great, solid dude. And it just kind of goes to show, like, I'm going to hustle for every opportunity. I don't really know of a lot of other kids that are Facebook messaging NFL kickers for help, but I certainly am, and it definitely paid off. And yeah, that's really where I'm at. That's really the Nick Dicairano story summed up. There definitely was some really, really funny stories left out between me and Coach, but we don't really have time for those.
That's okay. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Keep those in the vault. Keep those in the vault.
Yeah. But yeah, and right now I'm waiting for a call, and when I get that call, I know I'm going to be ready and kind of show everyone what Trumbull, Connecticut kids can do. Kids that play for Coach Dell and Coach Rondeau and Coach McGonigal and everything else. I'm going to show them what I can do, and I'm not really worried about the naysayers, because I've heard it all before. I had a lot of people tell me that I wasn't good enough to play in college. I ended up earning a scholarship to a Division II program. And then it was, you're not good enough to be an All-American. I ended up leading the country in field goal percentage. And now it's, you're not good enough to play in the NFL. And I'm just waiting on that opportunity to get into camp or a mini camp or even a private workout and not even prove to them, because that's not my concern, but prove to myself, like, this is where I belong. And that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, man. I mean, the story, it's just, it's one that I think every, professional athlete has one of those, and not every path is straight. There's always going to be different avenues, just like with coaches. And, I think yours is one where, when you get there, you'll remember kind of like, because when I was in college, I had a professor that talked about the ladder effect, where every step you take, you need help by the other leg. Otherwise, you can't get the ladder. And he kind of equated that to life, because as you grow older and as you kind of go through the ladders of your profession or whatever the case may be, you have people who kind of help you and kind of be that other leg. And I think for you, you're not going to forget the coaches, especially your family, the close friends, the holders, all those guys who kind of help get you, and Novak too, another one, kind of help get you to the point that one day you'll be kicking for an NFL team.
You're absolutely right.
And I think it's one where, I'm rooting for you, not just because you're a Connecticut kid, but the story. It's a great one, and
Thank
hopefully
you.
one day you'll be kicking for an NFL team.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Well, Nick, I really do appreciate you coming on the show. You're welcome to come on anytime, either before you
I'll
sign.
take you up on that.
No, seriously. I'll text you my number after. You're welcome to come on before you sign with the team. When you sign with a team, just don't forget about me when you sign with one.
Never. I won't. I promise.
But I really do appreciate it, and hopefully you'll come back on next time.
I will. Thank you so much again for having me and for this opportunity. I really appreciate it.
I'll wrap things up here on the Connecticut Sports Talent Show. So until next time, stay safe and enjoy the rest of your day, everybody.